Good morning and welcome to Valley Views. I'm your host, Glenn Edison. We're certainly glad to have you. And as always, you can see our programs on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as BTC Fiber's Channel 18. And today we have with us Frankie Lee of Caring Hearts of Dunlap. And Frankie, it's good to have you. I appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, let's get into Caring Hearts, about just what is that and what it does.
We are an adult day center, and then we do home care services also. So we have, that's what a lot of people don't know, is that we also have the day center where adults can come and stay Monday through Friday, 8 to 4, or we can have a caregiver that goes out to the home.
Oh, okay. So now how many employees do you have that do that?
In the adult day center, we have 1 or 2, depending on the number of clients. There's a 6-to-1 ratio on that.
I see. Mm-hmm.
And then for home care services, we average 45 to 50 caregivers.
Oh, really?
That go out into the home to provide services.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
So they stay pretty busy then.
Yes.
So you have several clients then?
Oh, yeah. We have quite a few clients now. We've been here for 12 years now, so.
12 years, that long?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We've been really blessed. But still, a lot of people aren't aware of the adult day center, I think. I think home care services is more well known than the adult day center. A lot of people aren't aware of what it is, or who utilizes it. So.
Well, tell us where you're located and how they can get in touch with you.
Okay, we are at 15227 Rankin Avenue, right in the middle of town, right across from the post office. We always tell everybody we're right between the Chinese restaurant, Little Caesars Pizza. Everybody knows where that is.
Yeah. So if they're hungry, they can just get something to eat and come on in.
Yes.
Well, in your what all do you do at the center as far as the daycare center there?
We it's open Monday through Friday from 8 to 4, and then it's mostly for adults that are more social and like to get out of the house a little bit, but maybe they can't do that on their own, and if they need some help with maybe toileting or meal preparation, something like that. And then we also are a really great resource for anyone who's caring for a loved one with dementia. If you are a full-time caregiver of someone with dementia, it's very necessary that you have some time for yourself.
Yes.
Caregiver burnout is a very real thing, and they need to mostly get past the guilt of accepting help from other people. Right. But they can just, the day center can be utilized in many different ways. They can come every day, Monday through Friday, for 8 hours, or they can just come for a couple hours once or twice a week, or however they need to utilize it. It can be utilized in that way. So it can be really, really great for family members who are caring for somebody.
So that way they can go and a family member could take them there and let them stay a couple hours while they maybe had to do something else. Right.
And then while they're there, they can play bingo. They do crafts and word search puzzles. There's some music time. They watch movies. They have breakfast, lunch, and a snack. They pretty much can do whatever they want to while they're there, but there's always some kind of games and crafts going on that they can participate in if they want to.
And how many did you say you had that come to participate in that?
We have between 7 and 9 members right now that come, but we have the capacity to take up to 24.
Oh,
so we have plenty of room to have more members.
Well, that's good. Mm-hmm. Now, how can they contact you if someone wanted to maybe have their parents or grandparents be a part of that? How do they contact you?
They can either call our office at 423-949-8573, or we have a website that they can go on. That's www.caringheartstn.com, or we have a Facebook page, which is Caring Hearts of Dunlap, Adult Day Center, and Home Care Services.
Now, is Caring Hearts part of a larger group? Is there other Caring Hearts? Is it part of a company, or is it just here in Dunlap?
We're actually family owned and operated, so it's just us. This is the only office that we have up here in Dunlap. So my parents started it, and me and my two sisters run it now.
Oh, okay. Well, that sounds good. And because this type of service is always needed.
Yes, it is a very, very much needed service, but I think underutilized.
Yes.
I think that there's not enough awareness about it. There also is not enough awareness that there's some insurance that covers this service too.
Well, and I was going to ask, when you have those your employees that go out to the homes, is there a certification they have to have, or is
the state requires, for us, we're non-medical, so the state does not require that we hire CNAs or nurses. You'll get those from your home health company. But for us, we do non-medical home services, so the state requires us to do so many hours of training with them before they can go out into the home. We also do a national criminal background check. There's 8 different registries that we check, and we do a drug screen also.
So people can feel at ease when they have someone come from Caring Hearts.
Yeah, we won't send a caregiver into the home that we wouldn't send into the home for our own grandparents.
Well, and when they go, what are some of the things they can do in the home? Do they fix meals? Maybe help them if they need assistance in the restroom, that type of thing?
We provide services or assistance with any task of daily living. So that would be assistance with toileting, dressing, meal preparation, showering, light housekeeping, and they can help with also if they need prescriptions picked up, or they need the caregiver to go to the grocery store, and pretty much anything that they would need assistance with for just daily life, the caregivers can help them with.
Well, that's good, because that gives them, actually gives the family a little relaxation knowing that that can be done.
Right. Our goal is to help these people be able to stay in their home and not have to go into the nursing home. It used to be the nursing home was the only option.
Right.
And people want to stay in their home, though, longer. So we can help them to stay in their home longer and give them an extra resource other than having to go into the assisted living or having to go into the nursing home.
Right, because I know in my own family, that happened with my in-laws. They needed a caregiver, and we had to hire a caregiver to stay with them, and and that was and my wife stayed at night, so it was pretty traumatic for a while, for about 18 months.
Yeah, and it's very, very difficult for families to do it by themselves. It's also really, really needed for the person that is just not used to getting help, and they're not used to asking for help.
Right.
But we can introduce caregivers in different types of way. They can just, we can present it as they're just getting a house cleaner. They're not, some people just don't want to accept that they're at the point where they need a caregiver.
Right.
So, so we try to introduce caregivers in slowly in those situations. And but we get to know the person to where we can go in based on their level of need. We also try to match caregivers with clients. So if there's a client that needs a certain skill level, we can send that caregiver that can provide that. So.
Well, that's really a neat idea. Good. It's good because there are so many people around here, and all of us are getting older. So, so you just never know if you need that service or not. And then when you really need it, you probably don't think you need it.
Right.
And you do.
Right. Yeah.
Because sometimes sometimes at advanced stages sometimes they're confused. Like you said, dementia sets in and other things, and they just don't think on the right level that they need to be.
And it's really hard for families to find a caregiver that can be dependable and trustworthy on their own. And they can have access to do their own background checks, but they're not as extensive as the ones that we have access to. So that's the benefit to going through an agency, is that we are state licensed. So the state requires us to go through certain private investigators and to go through certain avenues before a caregiver can go into the home. So you can trust that we've already done that work for you.
Well, that's good, because that calms people. Because like you say, if they're doing it on their own, they may say, well, a friend may suggest, well, hey, I know so-and-so, but you don't know anything about them. And not that they would be bad, but...
Yeah, you can get stuck into a situation where that's your friend or that's your family member, and now you can't really fire them. You know?
Yeah, and being reliable, that's another key. Because sometimes that's not always the case.
Right.
Or sometimes people are like everybody else. They get sick or something comes, or they have a family emergency.
Right. And that's another benefit, is when the caregiver calls out sick, then we have other caregivers that we can send in their place. So whereas if you hire them on your own, you don't have anybody else to send.
No, you're stuck with doing it yourself.
Right.
And then sometimes that don't work out.
Right, and maybe you had a doctor's appointment to go to, and so now you have to cancel your doctor's appointment to be able to stay at home with your loved one.
Right, and that if you're doing it yourself, that ties people down where they can't really do some things that they would either like to do or need to do.
Yeah, and that's a really big thing that we see with for the Adult Day Center. It is really, really beneficial for like a spouse who's caring for their spouse that's been diagnosed with dementia, and they feel like they have to do everything on their own, and they get to the point where they're getting burned out, and they just want to be able to go to the store by themselves.
Just get out.
Yeah, it takes hours just to go to the grocery store.
It does.
And that gets so frustrating. And then they stop taking care of themselves. They stop going to their own doctor's appointments. So they can bring them down to the Adult Day Center and let them play bingo for a while they run to the store, or go to their own doctor appointment. And then they don't have to feel guilty about them sitting in the car for long hours, or worry about them not wanting to stay and getting up to leave. So that's how it really can be beneficial there. It also can be really beneficial for most kids that are in special education at school. They age out at 22. And so you have these young adults who've been going to school for 17 years, and now all of a sudden they don't really have anything to do.
Right.
So they can come to the Adult Day Center. And we have every age from 22 all the way up to 90.
Really?
So they can come and play video games and watch movies and things that they want to do together. They really enjoy that. We can make them feel like they're either going to school or they're going to work, so that they feel like they have a purpose or they're doing something.
Right. Well, I know a parent with any special needs child, they have to just quit everything they're doing to pay attention to that child.
Right.
And sometimes, and I know they get worn out, they get tired, and this is a way to help them release.
Right. Right. They are really stuck when they don't know what to do, and sometimes they can't work. And they need to work. So the Adult Day Center is an avenue for them to be able to work, or just be able to give them something to do during the day, which is really important.
Now, in the Adult Daycare Center, they have to bring them to you, right? Y'all don't go out and pick them up.
Some of the family members prefer to bring their family members to us and pick them up, but Sethra actually will go pick them up and bring them to the center, and then pick them up at the center and take them back home at the end of the day.
Oh, well, that's good.
Yeah, we have Sethra that drops off quite a few of our members, they just get them on a regular schedule.
Uh-huh.
And if they're not on a regular schedule, if they let Sethra know 3 days in advance, they can get them on the schedule. So yeah, if they don't have a way to get there, they can always use Sethra.
Well, that's good, because a lot of them do not,
Mm-hmm.
and plus the fact that as we mentioned, if they have dementia or other things, sometimes the keys to their cars have been taken away. So,
Right.
So they don't have a way.
And also, when somebody has dementia, they eventually start sundowning, is what they call it, where in the evening they start getting more confused,
Uh-huh.
and they don't want to sleep anymore. And they'll get their days and nights mixed up. So if they come to the Adult Day Center, we can keep them awake and stimulate their mind.
Uh-huh.
And then when they go home, they're ready to eat and take a shower and then go to bed, and they can sleep during the night.
And that's good, because I know with my own family that happened, where their days and nights got mixed up, and and as you mentioned, sometimes by 6 o'clock they were ready to go to bed. They were ready.
Right, yeah. And family members are needing to do things during the day, so they can't sleep all day and stay up all night.
Right.
But even if they did, they're very confused, and it becomes a very rough night. So instead of loading them up with medications to get them to
Right.
sleep at night, they can bring them down to the day center and just let us stimulate their mind, which is really good for them too.
Right, because they need stimulating as well, just like everybody else.
Right.
I mean,
right.
we need it.
Instead of sitting there watching TV all day and falling asleep, and then they can go downhill faster.
Uh-huh. Well, that's how do you get referrals, and do people refer people to you, or do they just call you or come by and try to find out what your program does?
Yeah, there's several different ways. We have some of the doctors that will refer patients to us that they see in the office. We also work with 3 insurance companies, AmeriGroup, United Healthcare, and Blue Care. And the state contracts with them for Medicaid for the state of Tennessee. So Medicaid actually pays for all of these services.
Oh, okay.
So if you qualify for Medicaid, you can actually get on what they call the Choices program in the state of Tennessee. And it doesn't change anything that they currently have. It's just an additional insurance that they can add on to what they have. And that pays for their non-medical services like Adult Day Center, home care services, home modifications, or pest control, and Meals on Wheels. All of those things are paid for by the state Medicaid program Choices. And we can actually, if anybody has a question, they don't know if they would qualify for that, they can call me and I can walk them through it or point them in the right direction.
That's good, because I know that's insurance is just a totally confusing thing.
It is.
Most of us don't understand.
It is. It's very confusing, and it gets frustrating very quickly. So, but the Choices program is great. Once you make that call to get on the list, they will assign you a care coordinator that is in each area. Each county has a care coordinator, and the care coordinator will pretty much walk them through the process from there.
Oh, okay.
They will ask them questions to qualify them, get notes from their physician, and then they will make sure if they qualify physically and financially, then they can get on the Choices program.
So you're not going in something in the dark where you'll know all beforehand what their conditions are, what everything you need to know.
Yeah, and there's also people who just stop by and want to get signed up on our services. If they don't qualify for Medicaid, they can do self-pay, and we work with them there. And also long-term care policies pay for our services.
Oh,
long-term care policies, people think they just pay for the nursing home, but they pay for Adult Day Center and home care services too.
Well, that's good, because that would keep your service keeps people out of the nursing home until they just really need that.
Right. And then we can help them get through the process of how to get their insurance to pay, and we can bill them directly. But with the adult day center, we don't want to ever keep somebody from going if they really need the service for financial reasons. So our biggest thing is to be a resource for the community.
Right, because I'm sure there's plenty of people in our community, I know there are, that would be glad to help in any way. You know, if they knew someone needed help, they would be glad to
Right.
pitch in.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. I think I've pretty much asked you most everything. It sounds like you've got a good program going on. You've been, said 12 years?
Yeah, 12 years this past, last August, actually.
And does it continue to grow?
Yes, we've actually been really blessed. We cover Dunlap and Pikeville, Dayton, South Pittsburgh, Whitwell, Jasper, New Hope, and Guild. So we don't go into Hamilton County, but we cover all of the area and surrounding areas up here. But if anybody has any questions about the services or how to qualify or if their insurance would pay, they can call me and I can ask them a series of questions to find out.
Well, that sounds good, because it sounds like y'all are just trying to help people.
Yeah, that's what we want to do. So we just want to. There's not many resources for them except for the nursing home, and so we wanted to provide another resource for them, because that's really important. For these are people who are at home that need help, you know. So we don't want anybody laying in their bed or sitting in their house without any help.
Right.
So if anybody recognizes or knows of somebody like that, they can call us and refer that person to us.
Well, I've thought about that. As I get older, I think I'd rather be at my house. And, you know, if I can be at my house, I'd feel a whole lot easier, because all my stuff's there, you know.
Right.
And I'm sure a lot of people feel that way, that, you know, they have their stuff there.
Yeah. And nobody wants to go to a nursing home where they're with strangers, you know. I mean, there's a lot of good nurses and CNAs at the nursing homes, of course, but they're strangers and it's not their home.
Right.
So, yeah, they're comfortable in their home. So if they want to stay in their house, we would like to help them. We also work with home health and hospice. They can have our services and home health and hospice at the same time.
Oh, that's good. That's good to know, because sometimes all three of those services kind of are really needed all at once.
Yeah,
you know,
where they can cover all of the medical side of take care of the medical needs of the patient, and then we can come in and provide all of the non-medical services to help them to be able to stay at home and keep them safe and comfortable and clean and healthy. So,
yeah, I think that the comfort zone is what, you know, for me it would be a whole lot easier to stay at home and if I could.
Right. Yeah,
you know,
that's what.
You feel at ease.
Yeah, that's what. If the majority of people, I think, would prefer that if they have a way.
Yeah. Well, that's good. And is there anything we haven't covered, Frankie, that you'd like to tell us?
I can't think of anything. We also, for the Adult Day Center, we also have the first day is free, so that you can come and try it out, or you can bring your family member down and try it out to see if it's going to be a good fit for you before setting up anything with the billing for insurance or self-pay or whatever they need to do.
Well, that's good. They get a feel for it then.
Right. Yeah. They can come try it out and make sure it's a good fit first.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure that a lot of people would like that anyway. Yeah, I guess you have a lot that do that.
Yeah. We have several people that take advantage of that, and then there's always something that they find that they enjoy doing, and people are really made to be social beings. So there's some people who do not, you know, when they get older and they're not feeling well, they don't want to leave their house. They just don't feel good. So we can send caregivers to them. But then the ones who are social and need to be around people, they can come out to the adult day center and be around people.
Now, when the caregivers go to the homes, do they stay like during the day? I mean, certain hours? I mean, like 8 to 4, like your center's open, or how does that work?
Well, if they are going through their insurance for the services, the care coordinator has a program that she puts all of their information into, and then it will qualify them for so many hours a week.
Oh, okay.
Based on their need. So whatever their need is within the home, they can get that many hours a week, and then they'll set their own schedule. They'll tell us what days and what times they want the caregiver to come into their home, and then the insurance company will send us the schedule for that client.
Oh, okay.
If they're self-pay, they too set their own schedule, and of course they can set their own amount of hours that they need. But we have caregivers that go into clients' houses for 2 hours at a time, some that go in for 12 hours at a time. So it's whatever they need the caregiver for.
Uh-huh.
There's not many people for the Choices program that will pay for 24-hour care at home.
Right.
Those, if they're that advanced, they usually need to be in the nursing home.
Right, right.
But we have quite a few clients who have 10 and 12 hours a day.
And that's probably those that are more disabled and can't get around as well.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and they need more help than, because I guess you would encourage those that can to do as much as they can.
Right. Yeah, our goal is to try to keep them independent. If you don't use it, you lose it, you know?
Yeah.
So the caregivers encourage them to do as much as they can for themselves, but we don't push anybody to make them do anything they don't want to. Lost my train of thought.
Well, what you're doing though is you're helping people at their level, basically.
Mm-hmm. Right, yeah. Right. And if they live with a child, for instance, that is still needing to work, and they're not feeling good and they don't want to leave their house, and we can send caregivers in for the times that child has to go to work, so that they can stay at the house with their parent or aunt or uncle or whoever it is, so that they can work. So or if they just need a break and they just need to get away, it's the same.
Well, I know in today's world, families are busy.
Right.
They're just got everything going on, you know. You know, kids involved with everything. Well, Frankie, it's been good to have you, and I appreciate your service, because I know it's a much needed service, and hopefully people get to know your service, because it's needed.
Right, and I thank you for letting me come on today, because there's still a lot of people who don't know that we're here, or they don't know what it is that we do. So this hopefully will help to get the word out to people who need us.
Because that was one of the reasons I wanted, because my wife and I were talking this morning, we thought, well, what just exactly what all do they do? And I said, well, I think it's this. I said, but I'm not sure.
Right,
you know?
Right. And like you said, people are so busy these days, you keep meaning to call to ask, but you get so busy and tied up, it's that call sometimes doesn't happen. So hopefully people will see this and they'll get a good understanding for what we do.
Well, good. Thank you. And folks, as always, you can see our program on BTC Fiber's YouTube page as well as their Channel 18. So until next time, have a good day. Hey everybody, this is Glenn Edison from Valley Views. We appreciate you watching our shows, and we would like for you to like, share, and follow us on Facebook, as well as like and subscribe to our YouTube page.
Brought to you by Bledsoe Telephone Cooperative, your full-service telecommunications provider right here in the Sequatchie Valley.